2 minutes real quick. You're locked into the vault with Donta Myles on Fire 716 Radio. Let's go.
Good evening, good fellas and ladies and gentlemen. We are back here at the vault. It's been a little minute, been a little time. You know, I hope everyone had a great holiday. Hope everybody had a good New Year, pleasant New Year. Spend time with your family. For those of you who are able to get off of work, enjoy your time off. All of that good stuff. So it's the first week of the new year, right? Mm-hmm. So this week, let's talk about the first week of our good new year. I would like to start off by saying, before we actually, get on with our conversation, let's take care of business first. Go to Fire 716 Radio. I would like to see that 1.4 turn into a 1.5 today. I want you guys to like, subscribe, go to the page, follow YouTube, Instagram, all that good stuff. We're all over the place. Great content. So with that being said, make sure y'all do that. He's no stranger here to the vault and Fire 716. Matter of fact, he could probably got one of the coolest names that I know. You know what I mean? So I like to not introduce, but introduce to some and present to others my good guy, Mr. Donta Richardson. What's going on, Donta?
How everybody doing today, man? I'm happy to be here. Happy to be in the vault. Happy to be in the city of Niagara Falls. I just feel like we in a great position for change, and we really get to see what people are made of these next couple years, and to see who actually do what they say they're gonna do and who actually comes through. And we see what barriers is put up. Gates. I feel like most of the gates have been knocked down for me.
Right.
Now it's just ladders.
Right.
So I'm trying to knock down those gates for you guys too as well. Donta, Frank at 716 Fire has been friends of mine since I moved out to the Falls, and they have been pushing my initiatives as well as theirs for a betterment of Niagara Falls. So I just want to I'm just happy to be here co-hosting this with you today as a guest.
Sweet deal. And as per usual, my guy, the big boss man, what's going on, Big Frank?
Greetings and salutations. It's 2024. We survived. Be grateful that we made it. There's a work to be done. We talk about it all the time, but really execution, as I always say, now is that time to be a part, to be involved. And you know what? Via Cat Williams is a time of exposure for all things.
That's right.
Apparently, it's time to call all things to the carpet and let the pieces fall where they're made, but actually produce change and make things happen. That's just where I'm at.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. I'm really, even with my personal self, like, listen, let me get me together as well.
Right.
So that I can be efficient and execute all things.
Right.
And if it's not right, call it out.
Right.
And get it together.
Absolutely. And I'm here, yours truly, Mr. Donta Myles, your councilman, your city councilman, D-Belly Production, and all the good stuff. Tank, can't leave out Kunkel. So, hey, what's going on, Vic? Mike? Oh, listen, a lot of things have happened since the last time I've been here as well. I actually got engaged, so that beautiful picture that y'all see at the top, Sabrina. Hey, my love, that's my life partner. So I'm very excited about that. Praise ye the Lord.
Praise ye the Lord.
So let's talk about this. One thing that I've found out, I had a nice long conversation with a couple of people, and they asked me, one of them was my mentor, because it was kind of like an evaluation as to kind of like my experience, you know what I mean, as city councilman. And they asked, so what have you learned? Like, what have you seen? And I'm like, one thing I've seen is that a lot of people pretend to want something that when they get it, and it's a little bit uncomfortable, they don't necessarily support what it is that they say that they want. So what do I mean by that? So when I got in, everything that I campaigned on, a lot of people said, don't change when you get in there. I'm like, no, I'm not changing. I said the transparency, accountability, making sure I hold feet to the fire, making sure that I hold people accountable, my colleagues, the administration, just being pretty much, that the checks and balance, the watchdog for the people. And when I got in, and continued to be just that, continued to be someone that, was advocating for, like you were saying just a second ago, the betterment of our city. There was a level of non-support from the same people that was supposedly, when I was running, holding me accountable and make sure that I'm not changing, which that was not even an option. So I seen a lack thereof of that space when it came down to community engagement. So there's that. I understood that there is corruption in politics.
Yeah.
I understood that, that you're not going to be able to please everybody. I understand that.
Can't.
I understand there's this thing for me called 50-50. 50-50. When you're in a political space, there are going to be 50% of the people who hate what you stand for, and then another 50% that love exactly what you're standing for, because everyone is wired different. So what happens is that, a lot of times, I've learned this over the last 2 years, is a lot of my stance, a lot of people appreciate it because it's been a while since they have someone that can really stand really as bold, firm, and as assertive and somewhat disruptive as I could be for the people.
Disruptive is how this country was started, by the way.
Right. And let's keep it a buck.
Yeah, we wasn't disruptive, it wouldn't be no America.
Right.
And if it wasn't, and I don't like, and I love what you said about when you said change. People really don't change. They just show you who they are. Right.
Like,
so don't be like, yeah, dude got up there and switched. No, this is who he's always been.
From the day
he's been playing in this forever. In every situation, he is going to do this.
Yeah. And
this is who he is.
This is what you become. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you who said that. Yeah. Maya Angelou, y'all heard me say this multiple times. Maya Angelou said this statement. God rest her soul, her beautiful soul. She said, when someone shows you who they are, you believe them the first time. Mm-hmm. And I added to that is that not only do you believe them the first time, but you set your expectations accordingly.
Right, for sure.
So here's the beauty of everything, even this first week of this year. When you show me who you are, when you show me, I'm going to try to look at any camera that's facing anywhere. When you show me who you are, I'm going to believe you the absolute first time. And I'm going to set my expectations of you accordingly, because you're going to only be able to disappoint me in life once. I promise you're only going to be able to disappoint me once. What do I mean by that? Because once I set my expectations of you, you can no longer disappoint me. Your only thing that would disappoint me is my expectation of you. Mm-hmm. So what I expect of you, if you go beyond or below my expectation, that's what's going to disappoint me. So the initial disappointment is something that happens to all of us. Mm-hmm. We try to give people the benefit of doubt in life. And that's in every aspect. That's in business. That's in relationships. That's in politics. In every aspect. So, with that being the case, I'm learning to kind of go back into my GPS and learn how to navigate some other ways, because there are going to be some things in this city that's going to have to be done in a manner that's not as of norm. And that's the beautiful portion about it, because we talk about that often, is how we, how do we, everything evolves, everything changes.
Yes.
Everything does.
Yeah.
And anything that tries to stay the same eventually evaporates.
Right.
So one of the key things what I noticed about Niagara Falls is it doesn't appreciate its history. A lot of the people don't appreciate the history of Niagara Falls or even how it started. It started as a trading post.
Mm-hmm.
If started as a trading post between the Native Americans, not us,
Right.
but the French.
Right.
The French controlled it first. Britain ended up getting a hold of it. And once Britain got a hold of it, we ended up taking it from Britain, pushing them to the other side of the falls. One of the core things that Niagara Falls served as was a trading post between Canada and the United States. And the Erie Canal allowed for them to trade goods down the Erie Canal all the way to the Hudson, all the way to New York City. So one of the key things that Niagara Falls forgot to realize in their history is the day when somebody said, like, yo, I'm not about to buy more boats. I am not about to figure out how to get more well oil to light up lamps. We're going to build a machine, like a box. And you know what this box is going to do? It's going to be a building, but it's going to be like a box that push out products instead of us having to go scrape up beer furs and send them down the river, right? We're going to make actual products. And guess what? It's going to be controlled by lightning.
Right.
So imagine them saying this to the population of Niagara Falls at the time, who was making a good amount of money on well oil.
Right.
Who's making a good amount of money on the trade routes down the canal. Like, no, we don't need no factories. We don't need no power plant. That was all crazy. That was all machines.
Right.
That was all far out there. Right? So if they didn't take that bet, there'd be no skyscrapers in New York City.
Right.
If they didn't take that bet, we probably would have lost World War II.
Right.
Because Niagara Falls literally powered the country.
Wow.
Because the community took that bet. And the mayor we had at that time, it's a park named after him. His name is Arthur. And I'll let you guys figure out his last name.
All right.
He's the fifth mayor. And he said politics, municipal government shouldn't be politics. It should be more so on business. And what I tend to see here in Niagara Falls, and it's not just Niagara Falls, Buffalo has the same thing. People don't understand that. And I was explaining this to Frank. It's a pie. It's a pie chart here, right? They don't want to grow the pie. They just want to keep pieces of the pie for themselves.
They keep eating off of it, but at some point,
it disappeared, right?
It disappears.
And and you see it happen in you see it happen in cities and civilizations all the time. They did that during the 20th century when manufacturers were going over to China.
Yeah.
They thought that pie was going to stay. They thought that pie was going to stay.
Going to be forever.
They didn't start innovating. They didn't start innovating. They let gold miners develop the computers.
Right.
When we created electricity.
Right.
They let people who created gold mine, who was digging for gold, build up one of the most
intricate systems.
They was digging for gold in California. We had electricity. We had lights before them.
Right.
We had buildings before them. They were still on railroads digging for gold with picks.
But that goes to show you. Yeah.
That goes to show you how innovation changed, and people who stay in the same mindset, they don't grow. They only basically eat from the same pie over and over again until it's not no pie left, and they control it. And what I notice about Niagara Falls is it's designed systematically to keep people poor. Because
Yeah.
who controls the jobs? What families own the companies here? What families put
dynasties?
what families, what people own basically the school system? Who sit on the boards? Who vote in the school system? Who decides who gets what salary? Who decides what goes on for construction? Who decides who's in government? And I say factory industry and the power plant, which is part of the government too,
Mm-hmm.
is kind of like the biggest industries here. So whoever controls those things basically control the wealth of the city if they're not trying to create other industries.
Right.
And what end up happening is if you only depend on those jobs locally, you will never be able to rise up out of poverty.
Right.
You will never be able to reach middle class because middle class doesn't come from the hospitality industry anymore.
Right.
It doesn't come from the manufacturing industry anymore. It doesn't. Advanced manufacturing, it comes from that.
Right.
But you're gonna need to build technology for that.
Right. Right.
You're gonna need to train people to know how to use technology to create technology.
Right.
It's a whole different ball game now. So when you guys are looking at your lives and when you're walking up the street and you're trying to go find a job, you really need to ask yourself, like, why is this the only job available and why is it so low? And how did that person deserve a higher salary than me? What did they do?
Right. Right.
And see if it matches up.
I'm gonna tell you what's heavy. What's heavy in local government is the friends and family.
Oh, for sure.
Nepotism is huge here. So you'll have, and it's funny you mentioned families. That's why I mentioned the word dynasties.
Yeah.
Because that is what has been having a stronghold on the city for a long time.
Exactly.
You have a lot of families, a lot of them that ends with O. So you'll have, let's talk about it because I'm straightforward. But who do you hear a lot? And it's not just in Niagara Falls, because if you go to town in Niagara, you hear a lot of Rustino, Faso, and stuff. Different O's. Nothing against the family personally. It's good people. I never demonize a family. Yeah. What I'm saying is let's call a fact. The fact is that a lot of the decision-making process in the city of Niagara Falls has been ran by dynasties, family dynasties, people who are connected to those families. So what happens is, and I realize that in government. So for me, I'm gonna just give this it's not even a disclaimer, it's just a reality. Because, and I said this before, because I didn't have any machines behind me, because I really didn't have a heavy party participation. The only party participation that I had was from people who actually were in the party, but they believed in my vision for the city, and they seen the work that I put forth, and they seen me advocate and fight at the podium before I ever even thought about running for any kind of office, right? So, but I was able to get in without all of the things that they said that I had to have in order to get in. I got in off the people, the votes of the people, my constituents.
That's the only thing you need in government.
That's all I need, right? So I don't have to turn my head and be a yes vote and a rubber stamp for nobody. No organizations, no unions. Listen, I used to be a union worker, so I'm not bashing unions. However, at the end of the day, if it doesn't make sense, or if it's crippling, or if it's doing something that has been crippling to our city, guess what? It is what it is, and everybody's not gonna like every decision that I make. And because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask questions. I'm going to vote from here, and here. So once I get the information, it's going to register to my gut, my heart, and if it's like, okay, you know what? I don't know. There's something fishy about this. If it's not a no, we tabling it. It's so for me, I'm able to operate fluidly in a system that has been created to be more so rubber stamps and yes men and people who to fall in line. And so that's why in some cases I'm looked at as this other guy or this disruptor. Well, I am a disruptor.
And disruptors are exactly what people are scared of. This is what I want you guys to understand too. During the time, we lived no different from the 19th century to where Niagara Falls created hydroelectricity that powered the city.
Mm-hmm.
During the time, it was other people in power.
Right.
The guys who controlled the trade route to the canal had all the power.
Right.
The guys who controlled the shipment of whale oil to light up lamps for your house had all the power.
Right.
So when innovation comes in, it disrupts that power.
Right.
Because you have to compete now.
Right.
So when you think of Airbnb, what Airbnb did to the hotels, what Uber did to the taxi companies, they lost tremendous amount of wealth and power. Mm-hmm. And the power went back into the people who had Airbnbs and who drove Ubers and the workers who worked at Airbnb is the new class of power now. Mm-hmm. So when you run from innovation, when you can't innovate, you run from technology when you know it's going to disrupt your city, when you know it's going to disrupt the power structure. Right. You don't even want to bring that up.
Right.
You don't even want to talk about it. You make it sound mystery, ghostish. Now, one of the key things about government that I learned in poverty cities, right? Cities that live below the poverty line, majority of the population, that a government job is similar to welfare. Mm-hmm. It's similar to welfare. Mm-hmm. The government is paying these people to manage poverty people that's on welfare. The government is funding the whole city. There's really no private industry that's funding the whole city. Like San Francisco, and you could take Austin, Texas, for example. Mm-hmm. Like those cities have companies that make more money than governments.
Right. Right.
That make more money than the city government. Probably not the state, but the city.
Right.
Like Elon Musk is worth more than the whole city of Niagara Falls.
Right. Right.
$300 billion. Niagara Falls budget is what?
100 million.
Exactly. Exactly.
100 million.
So with that budget, your budget is being $100 million. It's probably worth the same amount. Steve Harvey is worth more than our whole city.
Right.
He's worth 200 million. Like that is embarrassing.
Yeah.
So the only reason why you would take certain jobs in government because it guarantees you a payout. It don't really it's not for you to do innovation. It's not for you to create nothing new, because if it was, you would just stay in the private industry. You'd be like Frank, build a studio.
Right.
But people who actually go for government positions and make careers out of them, it's a form of public welfare. Mm-hmm. And honestly, the only people who's tired of it is the Republicans. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to see their case to a certain extent. I'm starting to see their case, because when you look at certain Democratic ran cities that's actually poor, you start looking like, wow, maybe these guys know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the transformation of the Democratic parties, or how people play different games to where you conservative.
Right.
You don't believe in certain values that the Democratic Party got. You wouldn't get, if the chair of the Democratic Party came here and told you we wanted you to back this and back this and back this. That's going on a federal and state level, like deep blue state levels. You wouldn't back that.
Back it, right. Personally. Yeah,
Personally.
Yeah.
So one thing that I understand is that when dealing with the government, they're gonna be scared of innovation. When dealing with old industries, they scared of innovation. Mm-hmm. Unions, everybody's scared of innovation, because it puts you out of job. It makes you irrelevant. Right. And if it makes you irrelevant, now you got to go compete in these new markets. And if you don't innovate, other cities will, and then you have to compete with those cities. And when you start competing with those cities and you can't win, your city crumbles.
Right.
And at a national level, we're talking about a federal level. It's mandatory that you upskill your workers and you figure out how to transform your economy with tech, because China is on us. If you're doing anything outside of that, you're basically a liability to the country.
Right.
If you're not focused on it, this is not in your plans, you're a liability to the country.
And you're pretty much at the end of the day, you're pretty much a money pit that you keep, especially when you're not going along with the times and you're not advancing how we are in technology. We become a money pit. You start funneling money in a space that's no longer relevant. Things are happening, things are changing on a daily.
Even hospitality technology. Like the software that we're like, before we even talk about developing a hospitality industry here, let's talk about getting the hospitality companies the software they need so they could show up on Google.
Right.
They don't even got that.
Right.
Like I live here now, so I'm trying to Google different. They don't even know how to, they don't even SEO, they don't even know about Google Maps. Like, come on, like the agenda, and it's not the people of the city's fault.
Mm-hmm.
It's the institutions that's already in power because they're digitally illiterate.
Right.
And if they're digitally illiterate, they don't want to put it in their agenda because they don't know what they're talking about. They wouldn't know what they're talking about. And people know they don't understand what they're talking about. Now, if you make the population digitally literate, they're going to understand, like, wait, this guy has no vision. This is not where the future is going. Right. Let's get him out of here.
Right.
So that makes sense. In City Hall a while back, I said to them that Niagara Falls is outdated. Like technology-wise, it's just not there at all. And there was no forward motion. I mean, I was just talking, I was in Donta's spot years ago. But what happens is we don't have it. And we're behind. And one of my missions as the studio is to create a market that we are Googleable. Like we can be looked up, we can be presented. Because right now, we don't have a presence.
How are you not on Google? That means you're not on Earth.
Yeah.
And if you're not on Earth, you're dead.
How are you creating a hospitality industry where everybody's not even on Google? Like, so one of the solutions that we came up with was I was at the Entrepreneur School of Thought. I talked to the guys at Snug. I've been trying to work with other organizations too, but we coming out with a digital marketing program first. To help people with digital marketing get certified in digital marketing from Google, take a product management course from Stanford as adults. We push you into a job immediately. We place you in a job immediately. And now you don't have to be stuck in that gate to like, oh, I got to go work for $17 an hour. Oh, I got to go work for $35 an hour and wonder when this person's going to fire you because there's no projects being done for you to work on. So you're just sitting in the union for no reason.
Right.
Now, tech skills is good because you can apply these skills globally.
Right.
Like it's global. They don't care about who your uncle is.
Right.
They care about if you could do the skills, they're gonna hire you for the job.
Right.
And our goal is to create 100 jobs this year, new tech jobs, new workers for $50,000 or higher. So we're trying to create $5 million in salary made from these jobs to give that economic boost. And I think I'm gonna beat it. And I'm so confident that I'm gonna get this if I get the right people on board. I'm gonna outdo the mayor with how much money I bring to the city by myself.
Yeah.
By myself. Well, not totally by myself.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have partners, but it's gonna be directly not even involved with the public entities, with anybody else, because I see how the game is played. Right. They don't want you to get rich. They don't want you to have money.
Right.
They really actually don't, because if you got money now, you got a voice.
Right.
Right. They don't want this.
Yeah, because the minute that's a big thing right there is make it when you, again, like you say, when you get that level of wealth, then and it hits from every angle, because then that's when you're gonna get a lot of interest from a lot of politicians, locally, statewide as well. You're gonna get that. And the thing is that poverty has been, like the impoverished areas, in the city of Niagara Falls has been looked at as dollar signs for a long time.
They still are.
And that's one of the reasons why I address things in the manner that I do. And the crazy part is this: I was finding myself feeling like I was beating my head against a brick wall to try to speak some of the most logic, just basic 101 fundamental like issues that we've been going through in the city. And it's like I'm trying to explain it to a small mass of people, wondering if they're like understanding. And then it's like I felt like I started getting frustrated a lot, and I was like, man, like this is crazy. And then it hit me. I'm like, they understand this. It's not that they don't understand, but they're already a part of a system that works the way the system works. The system
works for
broken.
them.
For the right. The system is not broken
for them. Yeah,
at all.
It's not.
The system is working exactly the way it was created to work. So here's the thing about it.
And it has nothing. Oh, and I'm gonna let you go.
Go ahead.
It has nothing even to do with race anymore.
No,
like I see,
have not.
It's not even race.
No,
it's
no,
literally.
it's not a black and white thing
I'm
at
looking
all.
at the city. I'm like, wow, like this is worse than Detroit.
Yeah,
like I've been to Detroit. I've been to Cleveland. These cities that's extremely poor. I've been to Louisiana. I've been to New Orleans, and I'm like just looking like, yo, this is crazy. It's not even based on race who's poor. It's literally based on who's in control of the local government, who's in control of the subsidized industries that's already here, right? And what they do is they get grant money to provide all of these social programs,
right,
and pay themselves and their family members and their friends high salaries.
Right.
Don't forget, they got to add in one token Negro.
Yeah.
One token Negro has to be there.
Yeah.
It's part of the diversity for the state.
Yeah.
And
that's where that extra money, that extra money come in at.
Yo, it's crazy.
Extra money.
But the thing is, it's harming themselves because your kids have to live, but your kids don't got to live here because you can stack up enough money and move to Florida, Texas, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at the people who's still around from when Niagara Falls started this path and look at where they are now, I mean, the population did decrease.
Decrease more than half. Watch this. That's a part that I always try to bring to the attention of people.
Yeah.
We were over 115,000 people here in the city of Niagara Falls. We're barely scratching 48,000 right now.
Yeah.
Over half of our population is gone. Here's the other portion. Our local government, and those who make those decisions, we've been moving the same two quarters around the table in the different corners for years, thinking that those two quarters are going to eventually turn into $1 one day. We just going to shift them over. First and foremost, one thing that we don't have is the same population density that we once had.
Yeah.
So we don't have the same tax base that we once had.
Exactly.
We don't have the same industry that we once had.
Because that industry doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist anymore. So the industry that drove people from the southern states up here,
yeah,
no longer.
Mm-hmm.
It's gone. Whether you like it or not. Let's look at Oxy. Once had gainful employment.
Yeah.
Parking lot full. People who were able to take care of their families and had a decent income, hoping to at some point be able to retire. Carpet pull right off from up under them. Drive down Buffalo Avenue now. Near that 70th Street and all that whole area in that Oxy. And that's the crazy part because all it is like a old bread. Let me put it this way. It was this televangelist. His name was Tommy Tenney. He made a statement that made so much sense. He said, he was talking about the churches, but I can put this in the same, because what happens is we talk about Niagara Falls like an old oven. Niagara Falls is like an old oven that doesn't work anymore. and we bring people here and we talk about all of the stuff that used to happen. That's like, and that's what Tinney was saying. He was like, we're bringing people, we brought people to this oven and we talk about way back in the day. We used to make so much bread in this oven. You can still see the crumbs. Niagara Falls, we got a lot of crumbs and residual, like residue of what used to be.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so and they look at this oven and it's like, well, can you spark it up right now? What can it make right now? Well, it's broken right now, but I can show you. We used to make. You see this picture of all the bread, man? We fed like 500 people on this picture right here from this oven that used to work. And you can see the crumbs that was there, so it's showing that bread was made here at one time. That's what Niagara Falls has turned into. Niagara Falls has turned into the old broken oven that at one point in life was making bread.
Exactly.
Right now, we're not making bread, but what happens is a lot of people in government and out of government make it seem like we're still making bread that we don't. They're still rubbing quarters around the same table without thinking, how can we bring another quarter in? Or how can we bring more revenue in? How can we, outside of what we already had?
And you're definitely right about that. And I want to let you guys know something too. And this is I'm not choosing sides. This is just concrete facts, right? When it comes to Howard Milstein, like the owner of NFR, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a trick right now in the stock market. A lot of people don't know this. Everybody follows where the rich people are putting their money in the stock market now. They literally have trackers to see what stocks the rich people are buying. Oh, Nancy Pelosi just invested in this stock.
Right.
NVIDIA, we got to do it. It's going up. She knows what she's talking about because they know these people have information that we don't have.
Right.
I want to tell y'all something about Milstein. Most of the property in New York City was developed by his firm or funded by his bank. New York City is because mostly of what Milstein and his circle has done.
Right.
They built it to the sky.
Right.
If this was the stock market and Milstein put his money on Facebook stock, just like Elon put his money somewhere, everybody will shoot over there and it'll be a rally.
Right.
Wherever Milstein has real estate, it gets built up.
Yeah.
Now, I can't specifically tell you when they're going to build up Niagara Falls. I know they're saying they're building a data center. It looks promising. Data centers need to be built for AI right now. They need storage. At a high level, they need a ton of storage. They need actually AI factories, right?
Right.
Now, what I could say is I watched what Milstein did with Brooklyn, downtown Brooklyn. It sat isolated for years.
Yeah.
Them boys came in there. You can't live in downtown Brooklyn right now.
Right. Right.
It's more expensive than Manhattan.
Right.
We're talking about $3,000 a month for a studio.
Wow.
Bathroom is at your head almost. That's downtown Brooklyn, where Jay-Z and them grew up.
Right.
Broken down homes, Biggie Small, shooting dice, high crime rate. This is what they do. They let the city kill itself and then they come in and buy it up. The more people that's not talented, right? That's not digitally skilled, the more the local government is not economically sound when it comes to what the future economy should look like for a progressive city, the more it's going to sink down to the ground. The more people is going to leave, the cheaper the property is going to get. And we are a climate change haven.
Right.
Meaning like when the world starts heating up and those water aquifers down south start drying up and people need water because their water bills is $5,000 a month, right? One of the places you're going to have to run to is these Great Lakes.
Right.
and these guys are not operating. They're not operating or buying stuff off a gut feeling. I'm
Right.
letting you know that right now.
Right.
Howard Milstein and them, they don't. Billionaires don't operate like that. They have
Right.
a whole research team that probably costs more than this whole city, right?
Right.
And literally all they do is study the market, study trends, and they literally plan out society
Right.
for the better.
Right.
So if y'all think that man not gonna build nothing or planning to do anything with that land, y'all out of your mind. It's not his history.
Right.
You can't point nowhere else that he hasn't built anything.
Right.
If you go off of people's history.
Right.
He's been sitting on it for 25 years. It's a reason for that. Now, the question is because we just want him to put anything up there near a wonder of the world, or do you want him to put the right thing up there that contributes value to it and so he could get a return on his investment?
Come through. See, and this is the kind of talk that a lot of people
Don't
try
want
to
to
avoid and don't want to have, because it's easy to just say, hey, let's paint this person as a boogeyman.
Yeah, you gotta do that.
And
it's politics.
Yeah, and that's where things
it's weapons of mass destruction.
Right. Where there is none. Right?
It's like it's you.
It's the same thing. It's let's create a monster for people to get scared of.
Yeah.
And then if we can get your sight set here, then we could get the little spoils of what we can get while your mind is over here.
Exactly.
So let's focus your attention over here. I made a statement. I say it WWE. I always say it. But the true story is this. Right now, I don't think it's a big war. For me, I think it can be, if you ask me, 10 acres of land right now over in Milstein, NFRville, or whatever they want to call it, or whatever, you're not going to get $20 million for that. Not right now.
Yeah.
But however, if you go through an eminent domain process with the idea of something that's going to try to go against what it is that you want to build, or so on and so forth. And now, to me, Vince, the McMahon family, WWF,
Triple H,
right, Triple H. And now it's one of those, hey, it's a fight now, and let's do this, because guess what? At the end, everyone in the camp, and that's on both sides, win. Every lawyer. Only people that's losing out of this is the tax-paying citizens within the city itself.
I mean, that dude has a point, because at the end of the day, the bonds that we say they do get the land, say they do, right? Say they do get the land. Say they do build this stadium that costs what, 150 million?
Yeah, that's but that's
now you
base.
gotta issue municipal bonds for this,
right?
So say they do pay $20 million for that land. Milstein and them $20 million richer.
That's a drop. It's really a drop.
That's
in
a
the
drop
bucket.
in the bucket for him.
Really, he's a billionaire.
But at the end of the day, he could buy the municipal bonds and own that stadium.
Right.
Soon as that stadium goes into default or debt, the owners of the municipal bonds take possession. It's like almost like a mortgage.
Right.
Take possession of that stadium now.
Right.
If it ever was to be built. Right. Which is possible. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the amount of money you have to make a day to make a return, what, municipal bonds, 15 years tops?
Right.
You got to pay them $150 million plus interest in 15 years. That's $10 million a year. Do you know how much your stadium have to do? Do you know who you have to bring?
Right.
Like, you have to bring Drake every night. Like,
right.
Every night Drake has to be there. Every night Taylor Swift has to come.
Right.
Don't think you're going to bring Kiss or some old country bands. It's not happening.
And here's the other portion of
it. They can't afford it. They can't afford to go. I mean, the tourists could, but at the end of the day, man, it's crazy.
I'm gonna tell you one
Yeah.
thing about it. And this, I said this before. I said, true story is this. What we're not paying attention to is Key Bank Center, Shay's Performing Arts, Seneca Niagara, which is right across the street from where you want to build this thing. I'm a musician. I said it probably 3-4 times in my last shows. I've been across the country.
Yeah.
I've been a lot of St. Louis, Oklahoma City, New Mexico, Colorado, Arizona. We've gigged and toured. It was a tour band. One thing that most of the places that we have been to doesn't have is a natural wonder of the world. So that's one of the beautiful portions of this space, right?
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that I've learned is that, and I've played in front of audiences as small as 20 people sitting in the room versus, 8,200 people in the wave outside at a music festival.
Yes.
One thing that as a band or as an act that I know is that if I can draw this much, I'm not going to get a stadium that holds this much. I'm going to get a stadium that holds this much because I want a full. If I can draw 1,000 people, I'd rather get a 750 seat stadium because I want that joint sold out. Because guess what? Instead of getting a 1,500 seat stadium and having a bunch of empty seats, because it's always about optics. So just because we built something that has,
it depends seats, what numbers he's going on too. But you're right.
But
if he's going off the numbers, saying like Indian and Asian tourists, right, who's not really adaptable to American culture, not all of them. The youth is, but the older ones that come to Niagara Falls, not a lot of youth that come to Niagara Falls.
Right.
They mostly middle age and within their 30s.
Right.
You got some coming with their parents, but you don't see the millennials, the Generation Z's begging to go to Niagara Falls. This is more so older crowd that wants to see something beautiful, right? Now I'm gonna give him a strategy because you're right.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. Unless he's banking on like, oh, it's 10 million people that come here a year. It's 1 million people that's going to be in Niagara Falls. It's probably 500,000 to 900,000 people that's circulating through here every month.
Who's going to get right?
Yeah, so maybe we could fill up 7,000 seats from that, unless they going with that number, right? But the question is, how do you get them to come outside of that park into that stadium? How do you get them to say to look at Drake's country, the Weeknd's country? We're talking about pop culture. Justin Bieber. How do you get them to say, hey guys, let's not go over there to those Ferris wheels
and those bright lights
in the sky, let's go
Vegas,
and let's go behind the casino.
Behind the casino.
I'm just talking about from a marketing standpoint. Let's go behind the casino.
Get past the casino.
And once we pass the casino, it's gonna be, they're probably got parking. And get past the casino. And when you look out from the stadium, all you see is darkness. It looks like robbery.
Right.
It looks like crime. It looks like, what the hell am I doing? I don't understand the economic development plan behind that whole thing. Unless you said it right. Unless they want the stadium built, they want it on a public dime, then they actually build housing, and the Fire Stars building housing directly on the land with the 20 million that they got. That's genius. That's a genius play. I respect that.
So and
I respect that if that's how
it's rocking.
If that's how it's right, I respect that business move. Like
if I'm not in the room, I'm not in these rooms. So all this is just kind of like ideas that's popping off the top of my head. But overall, man, I'm just gonna keep it 100. Honestly, we have so many other issues in the city. Like you're saying, like we're talking about how behind we are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And giving our youth another alternative. And aside from moving out, because right now That's almost like it's almost like we're pushing our youth away. We always, and I always say, especially, we have to, first of all, I changed my wording and my verbiage a long time ago. My verbiage used to be the youth, and you hear it all the time. Everybody say it all. The youth, that's our future. Man, these babies are no longer our future. These babies are present. I said, so until you let them know that their relevance is now, they're relevant today. You change that, and then you make them a part of this process. See, what happens is you have the old guard. You have the, hey, let's do things this is not the way we do things around here or so. And guess what? That's what got us where we at today.
Well, the old guard no longer exists. They're willing to innovate. They're willing to break and bend the rules. Because if it wasn't that way, you would be chairman of the council.
Right.
So it's rule breaking when it comes to keeping the status quo, it seems like.
Right.
But when it comes to changing and disrupting and bringing in a new power source to lead the next generation of Niagara Falls, it seems like that's a whole different conversation that nobody wants to have. Wants to have. Yeah.
Because what happens is people get like they're comfortable in their uncomfortability there, and not in a good way. I'm uncomfortable because I know things aren't what they should be, but because this is just the way we've been doing and operating things for so long, I'm okay with just staying that way. And what happens is, what our people need to know is that we're dealing with a generation that's very different. We're dealing with the generation that definitely, and I love it about it because I feel like I'm a part of that too. That you're gonna show me more than you can tell me. Don't tell me that this is what I should do, and you can't show me where it works for you. That's that generation that says, "Hey, you know what? You say that I should do A, B, and C. I'm going to actually question." Your reasoning. Okay, so tell me why.
So one of the key things I heard from these people, and I really don't think that they actually do case studies or look up this information about Generation Z. So one of the things like, we want to build up hospitality, families to come here and da-da-da-da-da. I want you to understand that kids, once they get to a certain age, they're not going with their parents.
Right. That's facts.
Are we creating hospitality for parents and babies? Because once kids turn to a certain age, I don't know how many people have young kids, they are stuck in a world that a lot of people don't know exists.
Right.
Discord.
Yeah.
They're on the game. They're on the PC. They're in a whole different world.
Right.
Communicating, building friendships. They're not planning on going outside with their mom and dad to dinner.
Right.
That is torture.
Right. Right.
Like that is not. This is a whole different world. Because you don't understand technology or the trends that is going on, you can't make a good analysis on what to do for economic development. So you fake it.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. Like it's like Kim Jo-young. He's faking like economic growth and like all of this stuff to keep communism. I feel like this is communism.
Right.
Like I feel like this is socialism, honestly, bro.
Right.
Because there's no way you can possibly be thinking like this. There's no way. Kim Jo-young right now is telling people like, we're gonna be prosperous. We're gonna bring manufacturing. They're gonna open the border. They're gonna trade with us. It's not gonna happen, Kim.
Right.
You have to change your government.
Right.
That's what's going on.
And it's really just as simple as that. People a lot of times are so against change, so against anything different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so what has to happen is a lot of times you're going to have to circumvent a lot of what, because there was a point in time where you want something to take place, you bring something to, an idea, you bring it to your local government, you'll vote on it, they'll talk planning, zoning, and so on and so forth. And what happens is there has to be a level of, there has to be changes in those boards too. That's why I posted the post on. I'm glad you actually put in your resume in there as well, because you're a forward thinker, and we need different thought process in these type of boards, because when you have the same people that's been sitting and cozy and sitting and
haven't even been anywhere,
hasn't done anything, they're voting on the future of our city as far as the development is concerned.
They can't even work their phone. Like
right.
You can't work your phone.
And you're talking about development.
Like my phone right now is telling my heartbeat.
Right.
Like so it's right. Like they don't even know how to do stuff like this.
Right.
Like so by you not even being, it's almost being illiterate, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the 21st century means you can't work your phone. You can't work a computer. You don't know how to use word processing. You don't know how to create graphics. You don't know how to create a messaging pipeline in social media.
Wow.
You don't even know how to read what's going on in social media. You just see numbers flying around.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So that is equivalent
mm-hmm.
to not knowing how to read and write.
Right.
It's literally that.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't know how to read or write, you didn't know the words of the signs.
Right.
You would just run into
right.
You just run into something. You don't know if to say drink or spit.
Right.
You don't know if to say bathroom or shower.
Right.
You don't know if this, like, not being able to read and write back then is similar to not having digital literacy skills, at least the basic ones right now to get you to that next level. And it hurts me, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It hurts me that they don't see this and that they don't want to see this, because they rather keep the community in the city impoverished if they can't control it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not willing to give up control. I'm not giving you Stanford. If you want Stanford relationships, you go there.
Go get right.
If you want Google relationships that I got, you go there. Go figure it out. Why haven't you got here?
Right.
Why, instead of just partnering and making this thing good for the community so everybody can resource, you want to control it for what? When you can't even control your own systems or your phone. You can't even work your phone.
Come through.
So it's like,
come through. And that's another thing. You know what I mean? One of the things that I like to always make mention of is the fact my wisdom, what makes me wise is the fact that I know I don't have all the answers.
Exactly.
That's my wisdom. What adds to my wisdom is I'm willing to, like you say, partner, collaborate, bring a level of cohesiveness, connect with people who has this knowledge that I don't have. And guess what? I don't need to have, I'm not the one that brings it or presents. If I can be a catalyst, if I could be a vehicle to help usher something in, I'm here for it.
Yep.
If my position can help strengthen something, to help push something into our city or into our schooling system, I am 100% for it.
And you know what that's called, D? That's called leadership. That's a quality that can't be replaced by AI. Being a lawyer is about to be replaced, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Case laws, they dissimilar that all the way down.
Wow.
So I feel sorry for lawyers that just was reciting case law and actually couldn't give stories, and actually couldn't compete in the field with other lawyers.
Wow.
Because now they don't need you to assemble through cases no more, through piles of data and research on different cases. Computers, it's like a calculator.
Right. Right.
They going right through it. You're not
Right.
going to solve math faster than the calculator. You are not about to solve what a case citing was faster than a computer.
And then AI.
So, yeah, exactly. Than AI right now. So, leadership skills can't be replaced. And one thing that I say about you, bro, your leadership skills, it's high level. It even helped me sometimes trying to figure out, because I'm rogue. I'm a millennial. As soon as I get told no, I just start going on a destructive path. Like, okay, I'm going to end you. I'm going to end you. I'm going to end you. I'm going to show people that you don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to go on social. I haven't even started my social media rants. I will make videos. I will make funny videos. I will start adding stuff up. I will start doing research. I'll start getting case studies from interns at Stanford
Right.
for students.
Right.
I will make
Right.
this place hell.
Right.
I will make you look crazy worldwide. I'm trying to calm down, though. I'm trying to through you. It's because of you.
Man,
I'm trying to
absolutely.
calm down.
Absolutely. But I'll tell you what, and here's the thing about it, man. One thing that I've learned is that, you know, there's always balance is important.
Yeah.
Balance is very important because for the sake of our city, we need somebody that's willing. We need people like yourself that's willing to like, oh no, we're gonna put some fire out here because of this.
Yeah.
Then there's gonna be a time where you're gonna need somebody like, okay, hold on just a second. Let's just sit back for a second. We're gonna put the fire. We're gonna hold people's feet to the fire. Let's look at it another way and see how we can get that same effect this way. Or, you know, vice versa. Iron is going to sharpen iron.
Yeah.
So for me, my thing is this. If everyone who has been in position, everyone who has had any level of influence, if their level of influence and their positioning was the all righteous, then we would be in a better place here in our city.
Yeah.
As youth, I heard a lot of people in the older population say, that's why I changed my language. Yeah, y'all the future, as if our relevance doesn't take place until
later on down
the line. Let us do what we do to But then what happened is then now let's fast forward a handful of decades down the line, and we see the rut that our city and our community is in. And here's the unfortunate part: a lot of those people who say, "Yeah, y'all young bucks, stay they're pointing their finger at us as if we're the problem, and we're like, "You told us to chill. What did you create in regards to, like, as far as our future and our community? Show me the path that you created that we was, because we were the future. We weren't relevant at the time. You didn't allow us to be a part of these developments, or you didn't even, as far as things that's why I always say nothing. I believe it was I can't remember. They deal with the disabled. But one of their sayings were nothing about us without us, right?
Yeah.
And the thing about it is that even when it came time to like things that were supposed to be for my generation X, millennials and Zs, all these decisions were being made without us. All these decisions were being made by people who don't like necessarily understand how we operate, how we move. And because of that, now you have a whole bunch of people making decisions for me, and I'm supposed to, let's say, patronize. No, not patronize. Patronize is a different word. I know my differences. I'm supposed to patronize and support all of this stuff, but you don't want me. You don't want to allow me to be a part of this decision-making process. But it's supposed to be for me. No, what it is a lot of times those different generations live vicariously through us because they're no longer us. They no longer have that drive, or they may not be. And so now, hey, we're going to do this. And hey, it's there. You should do this because we built it. You should come. No, at the end of the day, like you said, we have a whole generation of people that's disconnected from generation. Don't understand what makes this generation run. So
they know though. This is how I know they know. They see their programs is not getting filled up.
Right.
They see people not signing up for them programs.
Mm-hmm.
They see people don't want to be plumbers.
Right.
They see they got their little programs going on at different facilities and telling people to pull up. Nobody's coming. Even the program, the Tame Lab, it got shut down. Housing Authority.
Right.
Soon he took their computer lab back.
Wow.
Why? They ain't have no inspiration. They had nobody to look to. It's just a computer lab just sitting there.
With computers.
Nobody was able to explain what they was able to do with this.
Right.
They had no examples to look up to. So now SUNY just took out the Tame Lab.
Wow.
From
that's crazy.
At least that's what Brian Archie told me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He said they don't have it anymore. if you guys want to come in, he said that. So
Yeah.
we'll see if he stick on that.
Right.
One thing for sure though, I'm sticking on no matter what. We training 100 people, getting 100 tech jobs in this city, 2024.
You hear that?
Yeah.
Do you hear that? And I'm for it. I'm with it. I'm all day. I'm backing behind because at the end of the day, our youth has been overlooked. Their future has been pretty much
and they told us
held in limbo.
Somebody at NU told me this too. They was like, hey, yo, we're trying to figure out how to get these kids out of the basement. They don't want to do anything with their life but play the game. Like they're just sitting in there playing the game. No, you know what they're doing? They're preparing for the future.
Right.
Because in the future, people are going to be sitting in their house working.
Right.
So if you know he has the skills and the capabilities to sit there all day and play a game, which requires skills, right? That game requires skills, critical thinking skills, being able to move your hands pretty quickly is almost similar to typing, right?
Right. Reaction to
react and design, because video games is designed a way to help you think and solve problems within that game.
Right.
You do critical thinking depending upon which games you play.
Right.
So these video games actually preparing these kids for the work of the future.
Right.
The question is, are you preparing these kids to work in those industries that's similar to these video games? And if you look at remote work, that's exactly what it is.
Right. Right.
So she knows that they're not going to their programs. They know that they're sitting in the basement. They know they can't attract these kids. They know these kids don't feel like they know what they're talking about. So you know what they do? They act like they don't ignore it.
Right.
I mean, they act like they don't see it and ignore it.
Right.
They don't bring it up. It's been no case study done on what the kids are thinking about the future in Niagara Falls. Has it been
not
one?
At all.
And we're doing one. And it took me a little while. We partnered up with the Niagara City School District and Stanford University to do a large, significantly large case studies. Pipe Dreamers is doing coordinating the case study. Shouts out to Earl Bass.
Come on, Mr. Bass.
On the board.
Fireman and school board. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so he definitely helped us out as far as putting that whole project together. A couple other board members I spoke to as well on the school board who greatly appreciated that Stanford was there. They didn't actually know Stanford was there at the time, and we was almost there for like 3 months, 2 months.
Yeah,
we was there for a while,
for a minute.
They didn't know we was there actually.
Wow.
So Mark Laurie, he ended up dropping a newspaper clip on it for the first half. He's been like super extremely supportive.
Yeah.
Even offered me the top second building. He said we would discuss it so I could actually put this tech program in to start training the community.
Right.
So if you guys are out there, push Mark, the superintendent, to allow me to put the Google and Stanford tech program in the adult programming school.
Right.
Because they have nothing on the second floor now.
Wow.
Besides book space. I think they still got books up there, like boxes of books. Like somebody's gonna read them.
Right.
Like it's crazy.
Yeah, listen. See, this is the stuff. I love this type of stuff, man. It shows that there is. I said this a long time ago. Niagara Falls, we are a blank canvas.
Yeah,
we are a blank canvas. Because of the lack of the knowledge, because we're so far behind, there's more opportunities. See, we're not bringing sand to the beach nor a glass of water to the ocean thinking that we're going to make a wave.
Yeah,
what it is that you're bringing something that's not here.
Yep.
You're bringing something that will make sense. One that's going to prepare our kids for having a future. That's going to get our kids up to date. Because guess what? They're gonna stay stuck in that basement if you don't bring anything else that can actually show them like how this game. And that's when I say it's true.
They might make money off the game. They might not even need to leave the basement. How do you cater? Like cities literally cater to that. Wait, you're in a game? Yeah. All right. What are you making? Video content? Yeah. Okay, we're gonna post that on YouTube. Hey, you good at that? All right, we're gonna run an esports league.
Right.
Oh, wait. you sure you know how to play that game? Okay, we're gonna take you to Japan.
Right.
We're gonna get you a deal, son. Like it's literally people who play Madden that got contracts with NFL teams.
Right.
So it's an industry for that.
Right.
But how do you nurture it? How do you cater to it? Now, if he said he was building an esports stadium downtown, I'm like, all right, you got something going on here, man.
You on something.
You on the right path.
Let me shut my mouth.
I'm
not. See, it's the difference between something like that.
If he was like, I'm building an esports stadium.
Then saying that you're gonna build, we're gonna have a splash pad that's gonna turn into a ice skating rink in the winter seasons. That right,
these kids don't even go outside.
No,
who's gonna do this?
Gonna do it, right? And I don't know but a handful of people that even go to the ice skating rink that we already have on Hyde Park.
But it may be for the tourists. Maybe the tourists want to go ice skating.
They're not still. They're not. Ice
no, they're going to Canada.
They're going over the bridge. Over the bridge, right?
They're coming here to see the state park, and they're going to Canada. The only thing that can save the American side is American celebrity. So if he can figure out a way to gather them up to do stuff here, which is good, he need to put the $150 million budget on that. Right? Figure out a way to gather them here, because that's the only way they stand over here.
No, that's a fact. And that's and here's the other portion: the people that you're competing against. They're gonna tell you what the problem is. The problem is that what you're competing against doesn't. We don't have what they have. What do I mean by that? We don't have upfront money. We don't have the initial payment. So when we're talking about, hey, we're going to have a stadium for concerts. Well, we have issues trying to balance a $100 million budget for an entire city a year. What make you think that we're going to be able to come up with $150,000?
I don't think he understands. I don't think that this economy this city understands the capabilities of over that bridge.
Yeah,
over that bridge is popular.
Yeah,
and not particularly Niagara Falls, but Canada itself, because of what they're doing in pop culture.
Right.
Like it takes them nothing to throw an OVO Fest Niagara Falls and pay Drake to do it.
Right.
And you would throw it, and everybody will be over there.
And
it takes them nothing. They're already doing it. They're already bringing content creators to the Niagara Falls side. The kids want to go see them. Like the movie stars, the little old, like the kids want to go see them, and they're gonna drag their parents across there with them.
Right.
So you thinking you create family hospitality, and you gotta get into the head of these kids, and you could tell a person. See, when you are a lawyer, you don't have to be innovative.
Right.
Everything's by a book. Right. It's a manual.
Right.
It's a manual. When you're a lawyer, it's a manual. You don't go outside of that manual.
Right.
You kind of stay in it and try to be creative. You don't explore, you exploit.
Right.
That's what lawyers do.
Right.
That's their motto.
Right.
So when you're thinking about marketing, and when you're thinking about the psychology of how people think when it comes to services and products, lawyers is mostly by the book. They never really had to innovate.
Right.
So I'm not expecting him to think outside of the box as a lawyer.
Right.
But what I am expecting him to do as a lawyer is to understand how to build up partnerships.
Right.
Because the biggest law firms build partnerships through collaboration.
Right.
Because if they didn't have something, they always went to go grab that lawyer who can make that happen.
Right.
Now, I don't know if the mayor's law practice had multiple partners, or if he expanded outside of the city.
Nope. Very local.
So if it was always a solo firm, you know exactly the type of lawyer he is.
Right.
Most lawyers that run solo, they don't want to split no money.
Right.
They don't want to expand. They don't want to innovate. And I'm not.
That says a lot. That says a lot.
I haven't met a lawyer that didn't want to expand unless he got into government, which he did. I think he was a judge, right?
Yeah.
So he got into government. That was like his upbringing. The lawyer was just something to do, right?
Right.
Get him in the field, get his feet wet, get his rep up. Understood. Became a judge. Judges don't innovate either.
Right.
They stick by the book. It's a code of conduct. When it
Right.
comes to innovation, there's no code of conduct.
Right.
This can be ripped up and threw away.
Right.
Because you can't rip up the Constitution and throw it away, lawyers will never, ever
Right.
be innovative.
Right. No, that's a fact. That's a fact.
That's how it works.
Yeah, so listen, I know we can go on,
On
and
and
we,
on,
I know
yeah,
we
yeah,
done
yeah.
been, we've been laying it in, right? So here, so listen here. Let me go back here. So listen, we're gonna continue this because this is conversation that must be had, and it has to be had on this level. It has to be had on a level that is very, straightforward, very cards flipped over on the table. This is just what it is.
Yeah, we invite anybody to come.
Yeah, please.
I want
absolutely.
somebody to come here. I want people to come through. I want to get this conversation started. Please come across the table. I know you're not gonna do it yet. Our views is not high enough, but we're gonna straighten that out to get this thing rolling and get our views up a little bit more. And I'm willing to be a guest to go. I'm willing to be. I want to hear the challenges. I want to hear.
Right.
I want to hear the next step of what's gonna happen.
Right.
Because honestly, I'm watching it and I don't see no threats. The only threats I see, honestly, was stopping us from actually retaking the city back and getting the people on our side. The only way they can do that is, I don't know, man. They got to go mafia style on me or something. Other than that, it's kind of like, it's over because you can't compete.
Right, and especially when you have the strength and the volume of young people who are really more innovative and they're ready for this. They're already up. They're already on top of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So listen, we're gonna put a hard stop on this right here. Listen, I appreciate you guys for coming through. Listen, again, Dante, brother, I appreciate you for coming through as well, man. Listen,
thank you so much.
Absolutely. And you're more than welcome anytime, good brother. And of course, we have our big boss man, Big Frank, in the building as well. He always help us and take care of us over here. And I am yours truly, Mr. Dante, your favorite councilman. You know what I mean? Tank, aka D Belly, aka Kunkel, aka just keeping it thorough, keeping it 100, as I like to always say. So with that being the case, listen, share this because I believe that this conversation is a conversation that makes sense to be had across the board. So hey, again, go to Fire 716 Radio, subscribe, YouTube, Instagram, all the Facebook. Go like the page, go follow the page on as well. And we're going to see you prayerfully, God's willing, next week around the same time. I will try to be a little bit more on top of the promotion. Just this week, just been a crazy week for your boy. So peace and love to everybody. Make sure you take care of those you love. Go make sure you tell people that you love them. You know what I mean? We're not promised tomorrow, and so we just want to make sure that we do just that. Show love to people that are around, man. That being said, peace and love, you guys. Be safe this weekend. Have yourself a wonderful weekend, and I will see you again next week.